which is the next micro step is the 14, which is making the new habit seamless. So 5S should be implemented in every part of the organization so that it helps you to keep the habit. You need to remove all the obstacles that may make you avoid the habit. All right. So a good example that I use with this is my husband likes running, but what happens is that, yeah, as we live, you know, as a family, sometimes maybe at midday he has to work and he cannot go running, or maybe in the morning if he wakes up late he cannot go, or because you know, I'm out working and he needs to cover for me with my kiddo, or in the evening it's raining, he cannot go. So these are all different obstacles that he finds whenever he has to go running. So what I told him is, why don't you go in the morning, 6 a.m. when everyone is asleep, and then you just follow that every day. There must be, there's no obstacle. Even if it's raining, and you still have time to get changed and all that, so there shouldn't be any problem. Just before going to work, you go running. And he was saying, no, because sometimes, you know, I cannot have breakfast and I don't feel fine. But I said, whenever you get the habit to do something, you will not feel bad. So let's say the first week you don't have breakfast, you just go out, you will feel kind of bad, but the next week you will get used to that. And you will be able to do running every day. And that will be great for you because he was prepping for a marathon. And he did that. And then he realized that it was a great solution. He was able, the first week he was not feeling well, but the next week he was used to go out to work out without having breakfast. So there was nothing in his way. There was no way my kiddo was woke up at that time. There was no work issues, nothing that could prevent him from going to run. Right? So this is what we have to work on. So that we can keep on a habit, we need to find the things that could prevent us from doing it and just do it right away. In my case, I decided that I would use a treadmill to run because sometimes if it's too hot, I wouldn't go out. Or if it's too cold, I wouldn't go out. So, or if my daughter is here and my husband is not here, I wouldn't go out. So I said, okay, let's have a treadmill and there's nothing that can prevent me to go out. So for everyone, different reasons may be blocking you to keep your habits. You just need to find what are those reasons and try to work on them. You need to work on turning the self-discipline into an organizational habit, okay? Remember that whenever you do things right, doing well is contagious, and whenever you do it wrong, if the culture of the company is set to clean and to organize, the parts that are not well will be pretty obvious. You have to keep doing the right thing even when nobody's looking, and implement it everywhere, in every part of the organization and even at home, so that you get used to that. And these are some examples of how you can organize your drawer, Eddie. um, you know, you can use transparent containers to keep the clothes that maybe the winter clothes
I did get a shoe hanging thing that goes in your closet that I can put shoes in. So the shoes are now organized and not all over the floor.
That's good. And I remember you told me about the hats too, right?
Yes, those are pretty well organized down in the entryway. My wife just avoids going through there.
Excellent. All right. So at home, sometimes you don't want to use labels. You want to do it in a, you know, fancy way, but you can find different ways. Just whatever you want to use, just make it super obvious so whoever is in your house can help you with that. And the other way to detect obstacles is by doing audits. With 5S, I tend to do monthly audits, or at least bi-monthly audits, to help companies to implement it. Because again, sometimes when you are working in your area, you don't realize what's wrong. You just get used to that and you don't see what you can improve. So someone from the outside can tell you, hey, what about this? What about that? So it could be a trainer or coach like me, someone external, or maybe you could have cross cross teams. You may have the maintenance team checking the operations lines and the other way around, okay? Or quality checking the offices, whatever you can decide. But that's a very good option that you can have so that different teams help each other. This is an example of the audit, the way I do it, and you have a spreadsheet with that. It's on the drive. If you cannot, you don't have it, I can send it to you again. Where you have 10 lines, like there are no unneeded items. For example, in sort, trash is organized by color. Unneeded articles have been identified, including a follow-up system. If you have my book, you will have, for each chapter, you will have all the items that you can include in your audit, all right? And what you would do is have a score for each of these items to see if the group is filling that out. So depending, yes.
At Tenneco, the audit was done by management, and the plant manager was a real stickler. But that helped drive it, was the fact that management came out and observed and gave their input.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's another option. If management can do that, it's great. But you have to train management to do that so that they are really picky. I would like them to go in the drawers and check whatever is clean. And you know, managers in many cases tend to be picky, so that's good. But you need to make sure that they do it often. All right, and by doing scoring their groups through the manager or the coach or the other groups, you can evaluate how's the group doing. You can evaluate from 0 to 2 or 0 to 20 if you use 100, just start implementation, 30 to 40, fundamental awareness, then 50 to 60, unconscious incompetence. I see like it means that you know that you're doing something wrong, but you still cannot correct it. Then when you are in the 7 to 9, you know what you have to correct and you are correcting it, you are able to improve. And then in that, when you are already more than that 90, you are between 90 and 100, you have the unconscious competence. That means that you are organizing everything all the time. You don't even realize. And whenever you go to that workstation, no matter, they don't prepare for the audit. They are always clean, always organized, no matter if they are in a turnaround or they are in a break, it's always organized. All right. So other thing to consider, I use different weights for the different S. Like the first three S, the sort, the store, and the shine have a 15% weight, while for the other S's, I put a different percentage. All right. So maybe the fourth S have a 20%, and the third and the fifth S have a 25 or something like that. But they have a you can have that so that people work harder on the standardized and the self-organized. Many groups can have a good score if they only work on the first three S, but you really need to work on the fourth and the fifth too. So if you push them with a higher weight, you will make sure that they increase their scores by improving those things. So did you check if you have the audit in your documents?
Yeah, I got it when you sent it last week, I think it was, or earlier this week.
Okay. See if
I don't know, but I can check when I get back to my computer.
I can open it here. Okay. Here it is. So again, this is an example. You can use something similar, but here you have all the, you have here all the items for each of the S's. You complete here with the date, the section, the auditor, and the responsible. So it's better than you don't do the audit yourself, but you do it with someone from the team. All right. So I don't want someone from the same team doing the audit. It would be against or a manager or someone from outside or someone from another group, but you would do it together with someone from the team so that they tell them, so that you can ask questions like, is this out of place, or what is it doing here, or why is this dirty? And they can answer. And with the answers, you realize if it's just something temporary or is this something that they are not thinking about and they have to correct. So then what I would do is here is a standard sheet, but on the side, I would write down comments, very specific comments like uh, workbench number 1 is dirty or it's broken, tool it's missing, or the board is not complete, but things very specific for each area. So the way I do it usually is I have a sheet like this for each of the sections. Okay, maybe you can have a sheet of this just like for maintenance, and then you go to the details saying maybe on area number 1 you have this problem, or area number 2 you have that problem. But as much detail as you can get, it's better so that the employees read this audit. So this audit, the reason why you do it is so that you get a score that the employees can see how they get improving through time, or if they are stuck because they have not improved. But it's also because you want them to see what you think, learn, see your comments, and work on those comments. They can look for those findings and include them in their action plans. All right. So you want the audit not to be something to punish them, but to help them improve. Give them like an overview from the outside so that they can keep improving their areas. Any questions with that?
No.
No? Okay. So here you can see that you can show them the results, how they improve through time. Okay, you can have the scores for all of the sections. And you can have here a blank template so that you can complete whenever you go to the area. You can do it on your phone or you can do it on a paper, whatever it's best for you. All right, so some metrics you can use besides the audit score. So you can have number of suggested action items or improvements per section. So if you're actually using an action plan, you can measure the amounts of improvements that you do every month or the ones that are completed. Sometimes there's a lot of action items proposed, but they're never completed. So that's also saying something about how the team is working. Maybe they're not dedicating time to 5S. Maybe that can frustrate the employees. And you can see they want to improve, but they don't have the time. So you have to work out with the leader to see what can you do about it. You can also see our number of audit results, number of improvements mentioned in the audit. In the audit, that's something I didn't say before. You can, it's not only about saying what's wrong, but you can also say what has been improved. So I always have a section to say, this needs to be cleaned up, this is not working well, whatever. But then I said, this has been improved. And I usually take pictures so that people can really see what is it that I'm seeing, what's the problem. And if you also see the improvement in the next audit, you can paste the before and after picture. That helps not only the employees know what has been improved, but also the managers know that the implementation is moving forward. So for you, Brian, that you have to work with your supervisor, this will work really well if you can show them the before and after. Then you can include inventory rotation, inventory cost, number of security incidents, number of safety observations to prevent incidents, productivity, number of hours lost due to unexpected circumstances, or number of hours not lost because now you are cleaning in a different way. You can compare hours lost or time. So there are many things that you can use to measure how your 5S efforts are being done. So really, maybe you cannot measure how clean something is, but you can showcase the results. And believe me, the results are measurable.